Your head, well, your head faces you're at the South Pole.
Oi.
Do you want me to mute the mic while I'm turning?
No?
Do you want me to mute the mic while I'm turning then so you guys can chat?
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. I better get the real turner up. Actually, sorry. I'll get in trouble. I didn't put the real turning up.
Beauty.
Well, gang, I invited Paul Hannity. I don't know if he'll come join us for a bit, but he's the head of the British group of wood turners.
I'm standing outside.
Their president.
I'm not sure I know who that is.
Get away from there. Come on, no.
We meet on Tuesdays and Fridays, Eastern time, about 2:30, 2:15. We start getting together, and it starts at 2:30 for about 2 hours. And we have a topic, and all we do is talk about that topic and show stuff that we've done, and then after that we can get and talk about other stuff and turning. Today was mistakes we've made, bowls with holes in them, and all sorts of stuff. And when we got into making of hats, wooden hats, and some of the problems, and they're usually very good. If you'd like, I can get you a link so you can join us. It's the same link every Tuesday and Friday.
Well, unfortunately, I'm usually working, so it wouldn't do me any good.
Yeah, I know that's a problem, but see, it's night for them, so it doesn't matter. So, Jay, if you see Paul Hannity pop in, you'll know who it is.
Okay. Thank you.
What Robo is turning?
He's turning the lamp that he makes for that lady that buys the heat pump.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking for a second banjo for my lathe. There's not a lot of them out there. But I'd like to have the same setup. Either that or have a friend of mine
Can you get one made up?
Well, they're usually cast, but yeah, I probably could get someone that does a lot of steel work to make one. You'd have to make a pair in order to keep it the same height.
Okay. How you going, Dan?
Sorry?
His name's Dan Blair.
Oh, okay. Hey, Dan, welcome.
G'day, Dan.
Howdy, Dan.
How you going, Paul?
Oh yeah, how are you?
G'day,
Thank
Paul.
you. Dr. Bob.
Yes. Oh, Paul, you did make it. I was just texting
did,
you
yeah.
to tell you.
I just switched machines. My camera on my laptop is a bit funny, so I just moved to the desktop. So I switched rooms.
Yeah, what we have here, remember I was telling you about how wood turning teaching in Australia has changed some, and Robo is the guy up dead center, Robertson. He's a production turner, an architectural turner. He's on, not, I don't think that is just, yeah, it could be his 40-foot lathe.
No,
I've never seen.
nah, that's not it.
That's one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And he's got a big order of lamps that he has done. So he
Okay.
joined.
Hi,
That was Robbo saying hello.
yeah, g'day, Paul.
Did you
G'day,
hear
Dan.
Robbo then?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Dr. Bob, or not?
yeah, I can hear y'all.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear us, Paul?
Okay, right here.
And Blair is joining us. He's from the States.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Definitely.
Let's see, Justin is in Melbourne. I honestly can't remember the piece of wood he's turning at the moment. You there, Justin? And Robbo is actually filling an order for some lamps that someone has ordered. So that's pretty much all he'll be doing.
And Jay is a person that I talked to you about some time ago, Paul, about how Robo has been teaching Jay how to turn from scratch. He's just got a lathe, but there is no hands-on. It's always been through this connection on the site that he does, and it's stuff on YouTube. And others just step in to help and comment, and he has really grown in technique and style. And the nice thing about it, not nice, but he's entry-level lathe, entry-level even bandsaw, but he gets around and does some fantastic stuff. And a unique thing that this group had happen a few days ago is that Jay's lathe broke in the middle of a get-together.
Right.
It just stopped working. So Robo was talking him through checking the electrics to see what was wrong, and in like all those lathes, there's dust gets in the switches all the time.
Yeah.
We've all had that time. So this little group and about 15 others that just jump in and are part of it at times, and he pops them up and we can talk about what's going on. And they're not all wood turners. We've got a scroll saw person, a couple of them that come in, and we even have a young lady from Sweden.
Yeah.
But his leg broke, and that's a depressing thing for any turner. And within about 15 minutes of just trying to figure out what to do, because he just didn't have the funds to roll out for a new switch.
Right.
And he got a text in the chat messages that the name of the store and the fact that one was waiting for him.
Right.
And I have never seen that happen anywhere. You know, you go to a club meeting and something breaks, someone will slip you a 10 or a 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's received to help pay for it. People have donated money just to help him get his lathe going. And we all just sit and talk. And it's a different type of social program. And everybody, comes up with comments and talks about what happened during the day.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, we have.
How often does the group sort of meet with you?
Every night.
Okay.
And
sometimes I'm in the shop. Sometimes, Rob just kind of hangs out, and Bob gets in the shop every once in a while.
Yeah, the guy that did that, he lives kind of local anyway, same state at least, but at the other end of it. And he basically gave me a desktop bandsaw. I'm paying for a bottle of alcohol that he likes to drink, and that's it.
Right.
So he's very generous. So very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody lives close to each other in Australia. When I'll go visit Robo, but that's a 10-hour drive.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's taught wood turning 10-hour drive apart from each other. But this is what's been going on. I've mentioned in our talks a couple times that I think this is fantastic, and the fact that it can break down and the parts ready for him locally, and then like all good shows, what was it? And out 2 hours later, he was back on the air finishing the project he'd started.
Yeah,
With a new switch.
but that's the shop that I bought the lathe from. So it's the only shop in Adelaide, basically, that sells stuff like that.
Right.
And one
So,
more
Paul, where are you located?
Sorry?
I'm in the UK,
What part of the UK?
Gloucestershire.
Worcestershire.
Gloucestershire, yeah. It's if you know where Wales is, we're sort of just over the other side of the border where South Wales is. The nearest city is Gloucester, and then you got Bristol to the south and Birmingham to the north.
Okay, I vaguely can sense where you're at.
Yeah, 2/3 of the way down on the left. That's pretty much it. Well, probably 3/4 of the way down on the left. But yeah.
So Bob tells us that you are president of the UK club.
Chairman is my official title. Yeah. The Association of Wood Turners of Great Britain. I've been involved with that sort of on the committee side of it for just over 10 years now. Well, just under 10 years now, actually. 9 years, I think. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing what you've been doing?
I've been turning for just over 20 years, 21-ish.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to turn?
I suppose I do a lot of bowls. I've got no particular one favourite item, I suppose. I do make a lot of bowls. I suppose I do what comes along as well. I mean, I do a bit of commercial work. There's a company that orders what I would call a polishing puck, usually in orders in quantities of 50 at a time or 100 at a time. And it's just, if you imagine starting off with roughly a 3-inch cube and then making that into a domed sort of handle, and on the bottom it's just a flat with a Velcro disc as a polishing. You put a polishing sort of pad on the bottom with the Velcro, and they sell them to sort of people that do car finishing and car valeting and car detailing, as they call it. So that's one of sort of the commercial orders I do now and again. And but yeah, I do all sorts. I mean, I occasionally get orders for furniture restoration to make missing parts on antique furniture, and I do a few exhibitions with the things I turn by choice. Hollow forms, bowls, vases, all sorts of things like that. Pens occasionally.
We don't say pens around here.
Say it again?
We don't say pens around here. Robbo gets a little irritated.
Yeah. I won't mention that one then.
That and carbide.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm fairly traditional in my use of tools. I do own one carbide tool which I made. I just bought the bit, and I think I made that 4 or 5 years ago. And I think I might have used it twice, and yeah, it's just, I'd much prefer to pick up a gauge, to be honest.
You and
I don't know any.
Hey. Yeah,
What did you
proper
say?
turning.
Yeah.
Robo's got a big shop. I don't know how many lathes he's got, but
Yeah.
it's more than any sane person would. But he's got them everywhere, and the big one is 40 foot long.
Okay, that's a good sized workshop.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Somebody's got a phone or a tablet or something on. I'm getting a hell of an echo back through everything.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, I've got the tablet off here.
Dr. Bob, you haven't got... Yeah, you might have to switch it off.
Or just kill the audio on the second device. That usually works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes with YouTube it does.
Yeah.
No, it's still there, I think. Yep.
Well, I have my mic off. It's someone else that's got something open.
Right. Just one here.
Well, right on. Just mute myself.
Yep, I still.
So I'm live.
Yeah, we're live. So
Okay. I'll mute my microphone. We'll run through the test and see how we go.
Yep, that did it.
Yep, Jup, I think it was you.
Oh, man. I've had nothing but audio issues today from the moment I started.
Now you're good. No echo.
I give up. I give up.
You're an asshole, Jay. Right.
Oh, hey, Robbo, got a bit of news for you, mate.
Every time I went to unmute, he bloody muted me.
Hey? I wasn't
You've got to tell you
muting.
something.
I haven't been muting anyone. Bugger off.
Well, that's what it sort of looked like. Although I think there's probably this computer, actually.
Yeah. I blame the operator.
That's what it is. It's not behind the wheel.
Well, everything's operator error. No, that's why I like wood turning. You can't blame anybody else but yourself.
Yep.
So, Paul, are you going
Everything's
to
operator error.
watch the stuff on YouTube this weekend?
I'm not sure. I've got some work to do, so I'll probably spend some time in the workshop catching up. Yeah. I mean, there's usually a demo sort of round about now. Actually, Theo Harlump, who does one some weekends, doesn't he? I usually watch the one on. Well, for me, it's just after midnight on a Friday night. But so yeah, that's usually a late night. But yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
No, they've got the virtual craft weekend on this weekend.
All right.
16 hours of turning.
And glass blowing.
And other stuff.
They've added that.
Yeah,
I've got Cindy's.
I do a few exhibitions. I'm in one of the local craft guilds, and on a normal year, I do a few exhibitions with those. But last year, I did none of those, and we sort of got the schedule for this year. And one of our big shows was going to be in May, but we've just been sort of informed in the last couple of days that one's been cancelled. So that one's out the window. So not sure when we'll get back to doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is over the internet. It's called the Virtual Craft Show, and it's turners from all over the world, and glass blowers and scroll sawers and everybody. It's interesting, actually.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I think that's. I've seen a few of those pop up here as well, and I think it's probably the best we can do at the moment, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Well,
it's online.
Well, unfortunately,
this one starts in Europe.
Hey, I think they're actually going to do it every end of the month.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make part of it, but I got a Cindy Drozda class. It's the second of a two-parter. And she gets upwards to 100 plus in all of her classes online.
Yeah.
Really a good person to have as a demo. We're going to try and get her for our club.
Hi, John. How are you?
The other thing
Hang on, John.
we have a couple people that follow the chat because not everybody can see the chat.
Right.
Like I'm stuck with a tablet and I can't see chat, so
Hmm.
I solve it with my cell phone.
Okay. No, I don't see any chat.
But that's part of the audience that joins in and heckles and criticizes, and
Right.
everybody has fun at it. And anybody that wants to pop in can, because normally Jay will put the hyperlink right in the chat. So if you want to join, you can. You don't need an invite because it'll pop up.
Right.
I just wanted to invite you to have you see something that I have never seen before. This type of get together, like the one we had today, you said it's a nice get together and chat, but this is the same thing but different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one person that is the star here is Jay, because he's the one that's learning.
Right.
And
Well,
our job is to help him. Robo's the number one person because he's been the teacher from the beginning that started it
Yeah.
and the whole idea.
But I love the fact that Jay's not so proud either. He doesn't mind just if somebody else is doing something special and he notices, you'll just go pop and that's it. You're up on the screen, and hey, everybody check out what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then he'll back down into the kind of format we've got going now, where you can focus on any one given thing.
Yeah. Good.
Good attitude towards it. It's a really special community we've got here.
Good. Yeah.
Can you give a little background of your job down there, Justin, and your shop?
I'm a postie, so 6 o'clock until 1:30. That's my day. Then I come home and I've got the day to myself. Fortunately, my wife's a nurse, so she's off on an afternoon shift, and I'm home alone, which means I get just enough shed time.
Yeah.
nice.
I work in a 4-car garage, which is all mine. There's nothing else in here but me and all my assortment of crap that I've collected over the years. But that's pretty much it. What you see is what you get.
Can you put that screen on the big screen?
Like that.
A wood pile to be jealous of.
Yeah,
Okay.
in fact, I was thinking about rifling through that just to see what I needed to actually throw out. But if I'm going to get this this laser machine coming, then I'll just pan that over a bit, all of that. Then I might actually hang on to some of the scrap that I've got kicking around, and that way I can etch different things onto it.
And Justin, it's killing me that back behind you, you have that very special cabinet for all of those tools, and none of them are where they should be.
Bit like my workshop.
How do you know they're not all black, Blair?
Well,
Yeah, just for you, Blair. There we go.
oh, okay.
There we
There's no
go.
black one there.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah, we're gonna whack you there. Can you live with the handle being the wrong way around?
Ah, it's beautiful, man.
Excellent.
Don't
All right.
forget, being upside down, you have that as an answer. Because you guys are still upside down there in Australia.
Well, we can fix that too. There we go. Now the hammer's the right way around. And just because, you guys are in that other country where we're upside down to you, we will go to transform and bang. Everybody have it. Oh dear. All right. Let's put that back. Cool.
It's like you got birds' nests in your garage.
Oh yeah, I've got everything. We've got 4 trees that have come up along the back of the shed between the fence and the shed wall, and they're trying to get in however they can. I do get birds up in here sometimes, which I don't mind because they take care of the spiders. Anything that gets rid of spiders, I'm happy with.
Oh yeah.
The only problem I do have is I get flooding. We had 40 mil, or essentially 2 inches of rain yesterday come through this place, and it doesn't matter how good your drainage is. If you get 2 inches of rain come through in just a few hours, things are going to get flooded. So I keep all my sawdust and crap down on the floor because that soaks everything up, and now I've got the fans and everything blowing with the doors open to try and clear everything out, get the smell out of here. But that's
What's
it.
the temperature today?
I'd have to say it's around the 20 to 24 Celsius. Let's have a look here. Just quickly. Checking. Oh, come on, internet. Internet always goes slow when you're live. Have you noticed that? All right, yep. So we've got 21 Celsius. I don't know how that translates.
It's about 70 Fahrenheit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite mild.
But Jay knows he's got he bought a thermometer that actually shows both temperatures.
Yeah, in Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing is, being in Adelaide, he's substantially further north than I am. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but I think you're much closer to the desert than I am as well. So you get that really, like, for us to get a 40-degree day, that's punishing. For Jay to get a 40-degree day, that's Tuesday.
Oh.
Well, John
got minus 12 Celsius in Ontario today.
That's nasty. All right, what have we got here? Just reading off the chat for Jay's benefit. John N's in the house. Scotty's beamed up Robbo. In amongst the smiling Justin misses his wife during shot. Yes, I do. I do very much. I always got a smile on my face. I can't help it. But yeah,
I'm just going to go out for a little while. I'm going to change computers and see if that makes a difference.
All right,
Yeah,
mate.
no worries. Robert. How you going, Robert? How you going, John?
Yeah, John C's in. John N's in. We're going to have to come up with nicknames for you too. John C's easy because that's just JC, but JN doesn't quite sound the same. What John Ed? What can we call you, mate? Give us a nickname.
Robert's in too. Hey, Hodge.
Give us a nickname before we think of one.
The calf whisperer.
So, Jay, what are you making? That's the topic.
No, I'm not the topic. Go back to what you were doing. That's all right.
Hodge wants to know. So John's the one with all the animals, right? I said, yeah, that's about right. He had the cows the other day, and I think you had some new horses to deliver.
Yeah, twin horses.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's rare.
I'm gonna do a bowl, but I've kind of got a bit of a it's got a bit of a chip taken out of it there. So I'm just gonna work with it and see what happens, to be honest. Making a chip bowl.
Chip bowl.
Chinese
Bacon John, Farmer
I
John.
like Bacon John.
Bacon John.
He was like bacon.
He's Canadian.
Or we can call him the Bacon Master.
What wood are you using, Jay?
Chinese elm. I've got a whole tree's worth of this stuff, so and all the branches are dry enough to at least turn, and maybe this time next year the trunks might be dry enough. So do a little bit of this while I can, and that was the same that I made that cup out of. Well, that I attempted to make that cup out of at least.
Well, John says he has a total of 10 horses now.
Wow. All right.
It's a nice little ranch.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Paul, you need to jump in, interrupt, and because if you're part of the group, regardless of your job and skills or whatever, we just get together and talk. That's the whole idea of this. It's you're visiting our virtual shop, and you're always welcome.
Yeah, Paul, feel free.
Justin,
so actually, sort of get together at any specific times, or people just come and go as they please.
Yep.
Yeah, come and go as they please. Yeah.
Right.
That's why I say he posts the link on chat for people just to drop in.
Yeah.
If it's hot here, if it's going to be over 40 to 40 C for the day, then I'll come on early. Might like at 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, today I started at 12:30 in the afternoon, so that's my normal time is 12:30. But if it's too hot, then I start really early in the morning. That's the only other change, really.
So it's getting on for 4 there, is it, at the moment?
Sorry?
What's the time there now, is it?
1:15.
Okay, right, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. In the future.
In the future, yes.
In the future, yes, but I'm in Saturday as well.
Yeah.
So, Paul, you said it's midnight there?
It's now 2:46 a.m.
Oh, man.
Well, I only dropped you one because I saw you on
Yeah, I was online, yes. Yeah. It's the weekend.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
What languages?
Assorted, I suppose, over the years. I've done quite a lot with Visual Basic, oddly enough, over the years. I've taught the Microsoft Visual Basic and some C, a little bit of C++, Java in the past, Perl, PHP a little bit, sort of web stuff, HTML, various other things. But I used to work for EDS, which was one of the American software companies.
Yep.
They got bought out by HP about 12 years ago now. It was about 2008. So I ended up working for HP for a while, and then went to another company. I got sort of moved from there to another one. But yeah, I've been sort of in the software game for over 20 years now. I used to work in electronics. I was an electronics engineer, and where I was working at that point, I ended up moving into more software than electronics. It's the way the world was going. So I was building prototype systems based around a PC and based around sort of computer and interfaces and stuff. So that's how I sort of ended up migrating really into just the software. And in the end, I left that job and just did the software engineering side. So yeah, I'm a software manager now, so I don't actually write any code anymore.
Yeah, I go back a little bit in that because I worked as a research scientist. That's where I had my doctorate in consumer psychology. But at 10, I built a Heathkit TV set with a neighbor. and I really got off the ham radio operator, built my own radios. And then later on, I ended up getting my doctorate in consumer psychology. It's kind of an odd study, but it really helps when you try to figure out what the consumer is going to do, what they're going to buy. And then I got my hobby tied to the two, and that was interesting. And I went to work for Uncle Sam, and out of my lab came your credit card, the chip card.
Yeah.
You know, that was the technology and voice on the internet. And this dream we're doing now, I sit back and I can't believe it's happened, because I worked on something they used to call INET. That INET was for information and technology, and it was a private network to be able to do something like this, but it just got way too expensive and we couldn't make it work. So time had to work out the wrinkles, bandwidth particularly. So I enjoy it, and I do wood turning for fun. The big thing I've turned are urns, and I don't, if I'm turning an urn for someone, I don't go showing it to people. It's mostly 90% have been for vets since Gulf War. But I'm doing more and more. I helped invent the deep hollowing rig I showed, show and tell.
Yeah.
But I think this group, when I see it, it just blows my mind. My dream that I had in '72 and wrote a paper on it, it's happening now, and I'm 74.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's still got something on behind.
No, I started to hear that when you joined, Robbo.
I don't know what the hell it's doing then. Because
I don't know if it's you or not, but that's when I started hearing it. I've got my microphone on mute, and I could still hear like a slight echo as such.
Hanged if I know.
Hear it now.
Don't hear any echoes here.
Oh well.
Yeah, you're right. How you going, Jamison?
Lee Sarge is on Facebook.
Yeah, because I think he's away working at the moment.
Yeah, he's down in Louisiana at the moment.
He sent me a picture of people in a rice field working. I was like, "What's that?" He goes, "Zoom in, the tiny little people right in the distance."
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a scroll sawer who's part of this little group. Just his company, because of the storms down there, shipped him down. He's high tension distribution specialist for electric cables.
Justin.
Yeah, buddy, what's up?
Can we have a different camera view other than elbow view? Please? Thank you.
Good day, Jamison. How are you? Sarge? Working hard, I hope. Down in the southern states.
Or hardly working?
Well, that too. And good day, John. How are you? Who else hasn't come in since Robert as well.
So, Justin, what kind of a finish is on the backside of that bowl?
Okay, that's got the Triple E Ultra Shine, which is similar to a Yorkshire Grit. And then Shallow Wax, which is, Robbo probably knows what it's made of more than I do.
It's a friction polish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just judging by the name of it, I imagine it's got some shellac in it. It's got some different waxes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Justin.
Beautiful.
Secret formula.
but it's nice. It's very nice. It smells beautiful. One of these days, I'm going to find out if you can eat it. I promise to do that live on YouTube.
You better have Sharon standing by then. You animal, Sarge, I tell you. John, I'm so glad to hear that.
How you going, Chris?
Oh, g'day, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Ah, Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I've been to 2 of them, and I don't remember either.
How many handfuls of beads have you got, Sarge? I've heard all about them.
Mardi Gras doesn't mean the same thing in Australia as it does in America, does it?
What's that?
No, because it's not grass. It's just one. It's Mardi Gras.
That's all right. Just the way I pronounce it, it just sounds like something slightly different here.
No, you don't pronounce the S.
Darn it.
Ah,
It's just a wild party of thousands of people.
yeah, it doesn't mean the same in America as what it does out here. Or a different concept, at least.
Yeah. It's not a party I'd be going to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you got parades. People will dress up in costumes, and it's a whole city does it in Louisiana. And it lasts, as I say, typically 3 days, but there's the parade, and the beads they have are love beads, and they throw them by the thousands at people. You collect them. When I was younger, I went twice. Once I was there for a meeting at the same time, and I'd already heard about what it was about, and I was probably in my 30s and decided I'd go and look. And I got picked up. A couple of women said, "You have to have some beads." Next thing I know, I've got this wild shirt that was loaned to me by a stranger to put on because I would fit that way. And the girl that grabbed me, she said, "Take your wallet and put it in the inside pocket of the shirt that you just had given to you. That way you'll stop pickpockets. And button it up so as they can't get to it and have some fun with it." I don't even remember her name. I don't remember where we left because all I know is that I told her what hotel I was in, and I remember staggering into the hotel at 3 a.m. and collapsing on my bed. Music everywhere. Really good music, and it's not pre-recorded. It's all live jazz. It's just a party, big party.
Yeah, doesn't mean the same out here.
What do you call a Mardi Gras?
Well, it's called the Mardi Gras. I'll probably get into trouble for saying this, but it's been taken over by the LBGT movement.
I think they've added another couple of letters to that, Robbo.
I think they have too. They seem to keep adding them on.
Yeah, every 6 months, I think.
Yeah, and it's that's what it's to celebrate out here.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, different out here.
Yeah, it's a. If I remember, it's come from a Cajun word. The other thing they have a lot of is
Mardi Gras French, isn't it?
Yes, it's French,
Yeah.
but they have a lot of. Trying to think of the name. Voodoo is practiced.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of stuff that is in that voodoo, which is French, and so you have that, and it's even some of their restaurants and bars, and oh, they got some of the best jazz musicians that they have. That seemed to be where the American jazz people seem to hang out, and it's fantastic. And it is morally based, and also on the, and I forget the other name of the religion that goes along with the voodoo, is the fact that you cannot cheat a person. Because if you did, you'd lose part of the goodness, whatever, I don't forget all the names, of what is in you if you cheat people. So you still have the pickpockets and that go down for that reason. And it is loud, the music is loud. And you get carried away with it and you can't help it. Hey, Paul, you ever been to the States?
No, I haven't. Maybe one day.
Australia?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind visiting sometime, but no, not managed it yet.
No. If you're up late some night, come look it up, the site. And there will be a link posted, and that means come join, and you can sit at your lathe and do stuff or just clean the shop. I don't have
it's always the same link that I've used this time, is it?
Well, it's close to it. It's because of the temperatures that are there in Australia. If it's too hot, they can't.
Yeah.
But Mark often drops in, and you're familiar with him.
Which Mark?
The gentleman wood turner.
No, I don't think Paul is actually.
He's been an earworm for a lot of wood turners when they do live stuff out of your country, and
Right.
And he keeps up on everything that goes on. He pops in here when he can't sleep. He has problems sleeping, and sometimes he'll go 20 hours and not be able to sleep.
Yeah.
So he'll pop in even if he's just sitting there and all you can see is from here up. And he says, I'm not going to stand up, gang. But he'll join us and talk a bit and talk about what other people are doing there where you are, that have the live shows on a regular basis on YouTube, because he's active with the YouTube group. And he has his own proper kilt, and he made swords for years.
Right.
You know, that's a totally different skill, but he just bought a lathe because he kept popping in and seeing stuff like this and others of your country. So he got addicted, because it is an addictive hobby. And something that helps it is the people around you.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of stuff. Pops in. The other night, I don't know, remember when it was, where he was saying, well, he was in bed because he held his camera up, and all you could see is the blanket and his neck, and he was watching.
Well, he just didn't want to show his Donald Duck pajamas. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also a silver medalist for the UK for archery.
Okay.
In the Olympics or something like that.
Yeah.
his own bows and arrows.
Yeah.
He's
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Sorry, Sarge. Yeah. Oh, you be careful. Don't fall off the end of the float like one of my idiot performers did once. Nearly got run over by the one behind. And Robert, yeah, Cade actually goes into the AWGB meetings a few times. I've been there a few. I've been there a few times myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting group.
Yeah, I got Cade involved, and he lives, probably about by train, it would be about a 3 hour ride from where I do in Canada.
Right.
He's he's across the lake, up the river a bit, up by Toronto, just past it. And, that's where my family is all from, is that part of Canada.
I don't know, with what we just did to Canada, they may not talk to us anymore.
What happened today?
Uh,
Go ahead, Robo.
well, I believe that America has stopped supply of vaccine to Canada.
No, this was shutting down like 10,000 jobs for an oil thing.
Oh, the
yeah.
pipeline. But those jobs were not in Canada. Those jobs where they're talking about was in the U.S.
Well,
And they hadn't
it
gotten
actually
very
is
far.
an agreement between Canada and the U.S., and they ended up losing a lot of jobs too. So anyway, we won't talk political.
Trump
I reckon it's the best comedy show going at the moment.
Native American really upset because that's their sovereign land. Native American land is just as sovereign as your land is, in Australia or in England, and they control and govern it by constitution. I think it's constitutional law, but that's their land, just like in Canada.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, Chris. I remember you saying, Chris, that you worked for an oil field equipment company. That's going to, if it's anything like Australia, it's going to have a ripple down effect.
Guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get a drink.
Okay.
Geez, that's a common thread between the three of us then, Chris, Robert and myself. My wife used to work for ExxonMobil.
Yeah, wind power though and solar is getting so much cheaper. The problem is we're buying most of it from China and they're making the panels here. And that's, to me, that shouldn't be. We have the skill, the technology, the automation, everything here, but for the past 4 years, all that has stopped because China's a lot cheaper.
Well, it's the same in Australia. We don't have any car manufacturing in Australia anymore. In fact, most of our big industries have all shut down, which is a disgrace, really, in a lot of ways. Britain's the same.
Problem is, we won't pay the extra money that it would take to buy local.
That's the problem.
We go shopping for things and we go, oh, we should totally support Australia and everything. And then you find out that, okay, well, it's $20 to buy Australian and it's $5 to buy Chinese.
Yeah.
And your wallet talks. Your wallet overrides your ethics almost every time.
Always does, unless you're ultra rich and you can write it off on your taxes.
See you later, Sarge. See you tomorrow.
Yes, Sarge.
Maybe.
See you later, Sarge. Thanks for coming in.
But here in Detroit, the auto industry and between U.S. and Canada is so symbiotic because we're just a little bridge or tunnel back and forth. We've got a barge for explosives. I've got a friend of mine that they make car airbags, and he hauls the empty containers up to I forget the name of the little town. It's what it is up in Canada. It's a day's drive up. And then they have the explosives they install in them, and they have them cartridges with the airbags, but in the back of his truck, they're suspended from all corners, so it floats on big bungees because the explosives are installed based on what the laws are, the strictest. And he drives back, but he's got to take the ferry across because you can't go over the bridge carrying explosives. So the ferry, he does that up one day and back the next day constantly. But there are so many parts that are made here or made in Ontario that they go back and across the border constantly. I mean, you can't buy an American car, a Ford or a GM, that isn't partly made in Canada anyway. And that we have the computer switches between, and it does it according to GPS now. Once you cross the border, your car immediately switches to kilometers per hour.
And
that's in every car.
And Chris says, as soon as the 747 can fly across the country with wind power only, I will be on board. Until then, fossil fuels are it. And John N said, in Ontario, we have GM, Ford, Honda, etc. And Bailey, Chris again, Bailey has said, I bought my carbides from a Minnesota company rather than saving money on Chinese ones.
Yeah. Our economy between US and Canada is linked so tight. You know, when they started the problem not even allowing food products back and forth, we get a lot, in Michigan, we get a lot of dairy from Canada. And all of a sudden, that was kind of stopped. One of the things that I have done every winter for the past 8 years is where a friend of mine, because I love water sports, and he has CNC and he cuts out the blanks for kayak paddles. And there are 4 different styles, and they're out of cedar, and it has to, typically Western red cedar is great, but we can't grow it in the States. The type that he likes to use, it's a lot sturdier. It comes out of, you know, the provinces, and on every kayak paddle, just for the wood to bring it over, he had a $2.90 tariff for a piece of wood that cost him $1.03. So we didn't make them last year because couldn't compete. Now the tariffs are going to disappear. That'll help the businesses across the northern border because it's really hit us and Canada. But only those that live on the border recognize it.
I got to change the subject there a little bit for Paul.
Yeah.
You have a fantastic training program for wood turners, and I've actually downloaded the thing, and about 3 or 4 years ago, a couple of blokes from another club and myself got together and worked out on a pretty loosely based on your training program for your registered turners.
Yeah.
We set out a training program for teaching new turners in the clubs.
Good,
and
yeah.
It has been acknowledged in the thing that it was there. So there's 3 clubs that have taken it up so far. We don't make any money out of it. It was just done because I got sick and tired of going around to clubs and the so-called experts that knew absolutely nothing were teaching people how to turn, and it was just a bad situation. asking for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I think where that came from originally was probably a similar situation here. You've got people in clubs and elsewhere that they know what they're doing, but there's no common approach to the teaching of the skills. And I think that the plan was to come up with something that just gives a baseline and a common approach to the teaching of it. So if, for example, you've got a newcomer in the club, and 1 week Joe Bloggs teaches him, then the following week Fred teaches him, they both use the same approach and the same techniques and the same terminology. So that's sort of where it came from. It's fairly basic in what it does, but it just gives that sort of common approach that makes sense, really. And a few of the clubs here have picked it up, and all the guys that are involved in their club in the teaching and the mentoring side of it, they all go through the course, and they all sort of work the same way, and it helps those that are learning that way.
That's definitely right. Like, that was the hardest part in the clubs, was teaching the teachers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
It's not that they can't turn; it's just coming up with that in a way a standard approach for the teaching, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And because there's nothing more disheartening for a student, and I'm sure you've seen it, where Fred comes along and he shows him how to roll a bead one way, and then Tom comes along and he says, "Oh, look, who told you how to do that? You don't do it that way." It's totally demoralising, to everybody.
Yeah.
Makes an idiot out of the mentors or the teachers, and the poor student is totally confused.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, we've heard from various people in various countries that they've made use of that, and I think it's good to see that it is being made use of. So that's good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a few turners on there that are AWGB registered turners that turn atrociously.
Yeah, there are a few. But yeah, I mean, in terms of how that works, I think it's really a sort of a minimum baseline. So it doesn't necessarily prove you're an expert, but it's intended to just really set up that basic sort of entry point, if you like.
Yeah, no, well, the best part about it is going through the safety procedures on every time they go up to the lathe or pick up a tool, And in a lot of clubs, that's just not reinforced at all.
Yeah.
Well, it is out here anyway. I don't know about England, but I'd have to say that England is probably or Britain is pretty much the same.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are clubs that sort of perhaps don't pay too much attention to the safety side of it when they should. But
since we've got a couple of knowledgeable people on board, if you don't mind, just I've got that one line there. I'm wondering, do you think I should add a second line on the inside, or just leave that one line there and that's it?
Leave it.
I think that looks classy as it is.
Simple is better.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Because you already have that ring where the bowl goes in, and so it kind of blends in there. But no, that's perfect.
Yep. Right. Cheers, guys. Sorry. Carry on.
You sure, Justin?
Permission granted.
Okay, fine. Thank you. No, it's a very good program, actually. I don't know how many people I've told about it to download it and just go through it and have a look at it.
Paul, I did add your link to the chat, just so you know.
Yeah, I just noticed that, yeah.
Jay's been very quiet today. He probably reckons this is great because I'm not picking on him.
He's just being a busy little beaver.
We have We have hand signals here, Paul. Sometimes they're a bit rude.
Don't worry about it. I'm used to it.
Because Jay quite often spends a lot of time muted, so.
Uh-huh.
He likes to let us all talk.
Oh, good day, Sid.
Hey, Sid.
Hey, Sid.
Yes, basically I do. Chris has asked Barley Woodworks, Rob, I have a friend of the family come over for a shop visit tomorrow. The kid is maybe 10 or 12. I want to start with safety. Do you have a list of safety rules you use? Look, I have some videos up that cover safety, so you can have a quick look through them. They're about 15 minutes. There's 4 of them. They're about 15 minutes long, and they cover most of the basics. Right on. Blair might have to put
my website, which was that one that the link in the chat. There's a page on there on safety, and it's just loads of sort of suggestions as to things you should look out for.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we'll just go through that one of Paul's then.
I'll bang a link up to yours now, Robbo.
Okay, thanks, Justin.
How true.
And the second rule is don't even ask to borrow them. No, I have a rule. I lend my tools. I come with them.
But during this pandemic, the person that I turned with, Paul, I've been teaching him, and he's active in our club. Since we couldn't get together, and my doctor, the Veterans Administration, doesn't want me to be around people, period. Because if I got it, I would be dead. No hope whatsoever. Immune system, way it is. So we couldn't get together. So I took a lathe, the one that Jay had probably loved, the big brother of that, and I just told him to take it and piled him full of tools and a chuck, and so he could do everything at home. So if he has a problem, he gets his cell phone out, and we video chat back and forth about what's going on and what he's making next, and that's how we've had to work. And I didn't mind. It's over there. Let's take the legs off so you can't move it all at once. It's too heavy, because I got riser blocks for the legs, 6x6s, to add some weight to it, and a ballast box full of a couple of drawers, and he just is enjoying himself. It's like, I don't want the COVID to go away because I'll lose a lathe, but nah, he won't lose it. He doesn't know it yet, though. What are you turning now, Paul? We've talked about what we're turning. What do you turn for hobby work?
Bit of everything, really. I'm in the middle of doing a pile of bowls at the moment. I've got some green yew logs I was given to turn, and I've cut it all up. I've roughed out the outside of all these bowls, and I've done about half of the inside so far. So I think I've got about another 10 of these bowls to finish rough turning. They're going to have to be put aside to dry for a few months after that.
Are they for sale or gifts or?
But those are. I say I was given the wood. It came from a college in Oxford, which is about 70 miles from here, and it's from the garden of the college. And this is a job that apparently used to be done by Ray Key, and he would get the wood from the college, turn it into finished products, and sell them back to the college, and they would give them as gifts and awards to sort of people connected to the college. So when Ray passed away, they were looking for somebody to take over the job for them. So I was suggested by one of Ray's other friends, and so I went and collected this wood, and I've converted the U into bowl blanks, and I'm working on these natural edge U bowl blanks, but all those will be sold back to the college when they're finished. But yeah, I got a pile of yew, some acacia, and some pear as well. But I mean, when I went, I just met with the garden staff, and they said, "Right, we've got this wood. What do you want?" So they sort of help yourself and fill your trailer, and away you go, sort of thing. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, this is some good bits of wood actually. So when I finish the yew, then I've got the other pile of the acacia and the pear to work on.
Interesting. I like that. I've done stuff like that, but for churches.
Yeah.
But when I do it for churches, it's usually they're remodeling, so I can get wood from it. Like I did about 2 years ago now. I did 8 collection plates out of pew seats. You know, they were 130-year-old. They've been keeping them but they just had to change them by law. They had to move them so they could get handicapped people in different areas. So they asked if I could make something out of them. So I did that, and I had some left over, and they were little baptism bowls, well, that big around, just enough to hold a little water.
Yeah.
And made like 10 of them, and it was kind of neat because that was, you could baptize your kid, keep the bowl. It had the holy water. It was a Catholic church. Had soaked into the wood. I wasn't allowed to finish the inside because they wanted the holy water to soak in. And that was given as a gift by the priest to the, and now that we got a wood turner within the church, all of a sudden finding he likes to do that because that's better. So I did it as a freebie for churches. I don't care. There are some people that just need it.
Come on,
Sorry, guys, for laughing, but Sid says, Blair, you look stressed. Do I?
He looks totally relaxed to me. He looks like he's going to fall asleep at any minute.
Possible.
He's only waiting for Tammy to get home.
It's true. She's working tonight.
What's the temperature there for you?
Oh, we're at freezing. Although it was in the upper 50s today, so really bizarre weather.
Yeah, we're at 19 right now here.
Ooh. Yeah, I want to go out in my garage, but no, I'm warm. I'm good right here.
I tell you what, you Americans and Canadians astound me. I reckon you go into hibernation for 6 months, like bears.
I wish.
No, I go
Justin,
through.
that bowl is gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Justin's is the only piece you're going to see today. You don't need to see mine. He stole the show.
Now, one thing a lot of new turners, I'll get a bit preachy because I know Rob will appreciate it. A lot of people think, wow, that looks really amazing and that's finished and all's well. It's not. That's just the abrasive paste. That's the finish just off the
looks
triple.
nice.
So I haven't even put a wax on it yet. That's just sanded to whatever grit that stuff gets down to.
Did you say that's Aussie oak?
That's it's called Amura.
Aussie oak's what I had yesterday, Blair.
Yeah, Joe's yeah. I don't even know what tree Amura is from. I've never even heard of the wood before I was given the blank.
All you know is it grows in the ground and you got to water it.
That's it. and one day you chop it down and you make something pretty out of it.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would. All right. Now it's time to give it some shine. And that's, get this in the camera somewhere. There we go. Cello wax.
Isn't that produced down there as an Aussie wax made in Australia?
It is, yes.
I know I got a can of it and I couldn't believe the cost of it.
Well, I bought this when I first started turning. I mean, you talk about cost, but Robbo, what do you reckon? It's been about 3 years, I think, since I actually started turning. And I put it on just about everything I do. So that's 3 years worth of use. I'm only just reaching the bottom of it now.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it goes a long way.
The problem is too many people put too much on, and then they wonder why they get lines and everything on it.
Correct. It's a bit of an instructional, I suppose, but yeah, you just want to have just a little dab. You probably can't even see that.
Yeah.
Try it this way. That's probably even too much.
No, that's about right.
Yeah.
For a bowl that big, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Get on. Yep. Carry on, Robert. Sorry.
Fat Tuesday. Mardi Sarge is on again. Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday in French, and is the celebratory carnival that leads up to the beginning of Lent.
Yeah.
So that's what it originally was for.
Yeah, I don't see him either. Did you pick up two?
All right. I'm just going to go out for a couple of minutes, Jay. I'm just playing here at the moment with various things, just seeing what's going on there, all right?
Yeah, no worries.
So you'll have to let me back in again if you want me to later, in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Radio.
Wow, baby, that was just the one side of my wood. Okay.
So, Justin, I wonder if he's having a play with OBS. I reckon he might be.
Yeah, I wonder that myself, although I didn't really set it up to do anything else other than to control his upload bitrate.
Yeah.
But I did notice last time, I think it was, that he was still stuttering just a little bit. So whether
when he came on yesterday, he didn't use OBS. He just he used his however he had it set up before.
Okay.
And it was
yeah, so that would explain why it was still jumping around a bit. I thought that was
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So if you turn it on, it'd be interesting to see if he gets much difference.
Yeah, well, it might help his frame rate. You never know.
All right. So that's just wiped on. So the second mistake people do is they think that's done, but that's only just wiped on and spread around. Now it's time to actually get it up to speed and get the friction and get the heat into it and get it to set good and proper. So I'll just mute up and get into that.
So if anyone hears a lady's voice in the background, it's my wife. She's doing one of her projects, sanding and whatnot, and banging stuff around, trashing the joint, you know.
G'day, Amber.
Bye.
Did you hear that, Blaine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Oh, Jeez Louise.
So, Justin, does it say what is in that shallow wax?
Yeah. Sorry.
Does it say what's in that shallow wax?
No, it's a secret ingredient. It's a secret recipe. Just judging by the name, it's shellac and a mix of various waxes.
Okay.
That's about all they'll release. It's Australian-based company. The trick with it is to keep rubbing it through like that until the line disappears. The more you polish it in, you'll see the line follow the cloth in. That just means that you're still working with soft material, and you just keep doing it till it sets.
John, what are you talking about? Platypus babies? What?
The secret recipe is platypus babies.
Oh, okay, I get it. John, you are just so wrong. I guess it could be worse. It could be, like narwhal babies or baby harp seals or something. Oh, Sid's backstage, Jay.
How you going, Sid?
How are you all?
G'day.
What's going on?
It's all happening.
John, don't forget wrapped in bacon.
Bacon makes everything better.
Sid, we're just discussing the efficacy of using platypus babies as a wax heat seal.
Yeah, I've been watching, and it's the only thing I'd like to point out is the platypus babies. I thought it was platypus eggs, not babies.
Wow, that chatoyance on that is just amazing.
Isn't it? Just making sure it's all.
Hey, Robbo.
G'day, Sid.
Robo, why don't you introduce Sid to Paul, since you two know each other?
Paul mightn't want to meet him if I know him. Paul, that's Sid. Now, geographically, he lives about 800 kilometres west of me and about 300 kilometres south of Jay. So we're all in the southeastern part of Australia.
Hi, Sid.
How you going, Paul?
Good.
Paul's an Englishman, but we'll forgive him for that.
Well, that's all right. My dad was an Englishman too, so I can't sort of hold it against him.
Comes from where the sauce is made, Worcestershire sauce.
Not far from there, actually. Yes, you're right.
Here we go.
Worcestershire sauce.
Look at that platter.
That looks pretty good, Justin.
Jeez, I was reminded of that one that was on your dinner table, and I thought, you don't just have to have a thin-walled rim. You can do things with it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So now I've just got to spin it around and take off the tenon. Oh, sorry, cut the mortise away. Because I did it with an internal mortise.
Yep.
I wanted to give it a base, so I'll just trim all that away and then tidy it up, and it'll be finished.
Nice. I like it.
Looks good. I'm pretty happy with it.
It looks
I got
really great.
the pack of blanks that I got, the two I sent to Jay was in. I bought them because there was a heap of walnut in there I wanted, so I want to see how walnut turns. It's pretty dark wood.
Oh, it's lovely.
Love the smell of walnut. Oh, it's almost as good as cedar.
Jay, sorry, sit at least. All you need is that, mate. A sharpened thumbnail to turn walnut.
Okay. Well, your thumbnail's a bit longer than mine. I'll probably get a blister on the tip of my thumb.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah, but see, Robbo has thumbnails of like Wolverine.
Yeah. Titanium.
Adamantium. Sorry, that's
So
the geek coming out in me. It's called adamantium.
Oh, there you go. All right, I'll take your word for it. I'll assume that you're not swearing at me and that it's actually what it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of geeky that way.
I bought these blanks. They turned up. I got them probably 2 months ago. I haven't turned one yet. But I also picked up some walnut from Mount Gambier, which is like 100 miles away to the south of here. Three logs that are about 20 inches long by probably about 18 inches in diameter, and one that's probably 2.5 meters, and about 10 inches in diameter. So I've sealed the ends of them, but I've got to cut them down a bit and redo it to get them prepped up, but they're green.
Oh, Hodge, I can't wait to see when you do that. I love walnut. So pretty.
Well, I just believe it or not, I turned my first goblet. I haven't quite taken it off the lathe yet. I've just been putting some finish on it out of green olive. And I swear that stuff smells like toast as it's cutting.
That's what I had for lunch. That's what you're smelling.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything about the smell, Robbo.
Yeah, well, you cop it first, Justin, don't you? You're a bit closer.
That's what it is. The wind's a bit strong too. I'd get a good old woof.
Yeah, you poor bugger.
Particularly with the way the winds have been going the last couple of days, it should go in your direction from our place too.
Yeah.
Well, Sid, our guest tonight that I've invited to join this motley group, Paul Henneby. And he's a wood turner and runs the biggest wood turning organization in Europe right now, I would guess, as an officer. And I've been telling him about how this little group works internationally, of just sitting around like you would to visit a friend's shop before COVID, of which it is. And can you give Paul a bit of your background, being different? Everyone here has something different. The only thing they have in common is the wood turning, and also storytelling.
Actually, we just want your CV, Sid. Is that all right? We're going to identity. We're going for identity theft here.
No worries, date of birth, mother's maiden name, yeah. That won't help you though, Justin, because I don't use that for any of my identification verification at all.
What was your first car? Your favourite pet name?
And what's your bank card number?
Oh, I had a bank card once.
So do I.
Yeah. Paul, I've lived all my life in the southeast of South Australia. Dad was very keen on hobby woodwork, and I used to do a bit of turning when I was at school a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago too.
It's funny though, you sit back and you think about, oh, yeah, I did that when I was at school, and then you think, shit, that was a long time ago. But when you're actually talking about it, it doesn't seem all that long ago.
Terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So about probably 3 years ago, I started thinking about, because I make stuff out of salvage timber and pallets and all that sort of stuff. That's where I started back into woodwork again, doing that. So collecting pallets, making furniture, or breaking them down and making smaller other things. And then I sort of started to think about turning again. And they had a, how would you describe it, Robbo? Turn SA, sort of a group of the turning clubs in South Australia, put a show on once a year where people come and bring their lathes and...
It's a hard thing to describe because it's not a symposium. Symposiums, you go and you watch other people demonstrate and pay good money for it. These are an accommodated thing, like they're generally held accommodation and food and everything's included. Everybody is on a level playing field. We all bring along our lathes and tools and everything. And all we do all weekend, or most of them do all weekend, is just turn. And people wander around and have a look at what other people are doing, get ideas and this and that. And it's just a great weekend. There's professionals right down to absolute beginners that attend.
That was fun.
Yeah, Justin came to his first one 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you come to the one in Kingston, Justin?
No.
I went to Forest Edge.
Okay, yep. So the Turn SA in Kingston three ago, I suppose, the third one I went to was August last year, so about 2.5 years ago. I went to my first one. That decided me to buy a lathe. So I started saving for a lathe, and I bought a lathe just before the next one. Well, literally, it turned up a week before the next Turn SA. I went to that, bought some tools and bits and pieces to go with the lathe there, and been chugging away at it ever since. By the time the last one came around, I'd bought a second little midi lathe, so I had one that was easy to move.
Yeah, that's
basically. Go, Robert.
Yeah, so, just to answer Robert's question, Friday to Sunday. Generally they are. There's a couple of 4-day ones, but they're all accommodated there and fed there in most cases. They're all a little bit different. The one in Turn South Australia, the hotel caters for it, and everybody's sort of spread around the town. But there's a lot of others where people actually stay on site. They're big, like Christian youth camps or government-owned sports camps and things like that. Me, I just take my own bed with me. I take my motorhome with me. So, but it's similar to your woodturners retreat. Everybody just does their own thing. And in fact, it's rather interesting. We've had a couple of Americans over to Phillip Island, which is the biggest one. It was the original one, and they just couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They said that stuff like that in America wouldn't work because we just put our tools down on the lathe, throw a cloth over it to keep it cool overnight, walk out of the hall. Yeah. He said in America, you'd walk in the morning, there'd be nothing left. So kind of put my expectations of American woodturners down a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, bit of a shame about that, eh?
Yeah.
It really is. Woodturners, it's everybody else that wants to steal their stuff and sell it.
Yeah, but he was astounded. Like Phillip Island has up to 110 lathes and woodturners there, and you can imagine the equipment that's in there. And we just walk out, lock the hall up, and some people turn until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and come back in again at 5. And nothing ever disappears. you might misplace something, but on the Sunday after lunch, that's when everybody packs up. If you've got a tool that's not yours, you put it up the table up the front. Everybody knows where everything is. If you're missing a tool, you just go back and pick it up. So,
Yeah.
That'd be
No,
fantastic.
it's all good fun.
sorry, Sid.
It's all good fun. Robbo, he was a little bit, I can only speak for Turn SA, but he was probably a little bit lax with the truth. There's a bit of turning done and there's a lot of bullshitting done.
Oh, no, I'd never exaggerate, Sid. Never.
So usually have a bit of fun. There's a couple of challenges on, things to make. I think last year there was a loosened tree goblet, which means that the goblet I just made wasn't my first one. The first one I made was the one last year that I did. What do you call? It's not funnel club when you go too thin on the sides, is it?
No.
So the challenge was to get it as thin as you could. Well, I couldn't get it any thinner.
Yeah.
And the other challenge that last year was making a ball out of a 90mm cubic block of Bunnings pine and then bowling it at some ten pins.
Yeah,
So that
unfortunately.
sort of stuff, little challenges and stuff that go on.
Right.
Year before that, it was a cannon that actually had to fire
That's right.
with compressed air.
Put a tubeless valve in it and gave it a blast of compressed air to make it shoot. There were some good ones come out of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Good night, Robert. We'll see you in the chats tomorrow.
See you, Robert.
See you later, Robert.
Thanks for coming in, Robert. Take it easy.
Catch
Yeah,
you
so
tomorrow, Rob.
My turning, I have plenty of fails because, with the exception of this walnut that I bought, because I specifically wanted to turn some walnut, and the batch I got had some Aussie oak and Aussie ash with it, so I picked that up as bonus. Everything I turn is either salvaged from pallets or picked up off the edge of the road. And the pallet stuff gets interesting sometimes if you miss a nail or something like that. It's a bit hard on tools. The other thing I've found in pallets, when they nail them with the nail guns, a lot of those nail guns have a little copper wire that holds the string of nails together in the magazine.
Yeah.
And that little piece of copper often stays behind in the wood.
That turns out easily.
Oh, it's not too bad. It just dulls the tool a bit quicker.
No. Horseshoe. When you come across a horseshoe, you got to worry.
Haven't had that yet. I've had a couple. I found it first. I had a railway spike in a piece of Banksia I picked up.
Yeah, I've had railway spikes, horseshoes, a shifting spanner in one, which is an adjustable wrench to you Americans. Yeah, they sit them in the forks of trees, and of course the tree grows over the top of them.
Yeah.
Well, the other term we use for I'll clean it up a little bit, but the other term we use for a shifting spanner here is the all-metric nut stuffer.
Yeah.
You can substitute another word for stuffer if you like.
Well, when I worked for our government, I lived in Virginia, and I had a tree that had to come down in my backyard. And I thought, well, I'm going to turn it because it was very old. And as I got into it, I was finding lead ball. And then I got asking my sister, who lives about a quarter mile from me, and she says, well, Bob, you didn't study your history. This is part of where the Civil War was fought initially. And over there is where so-and-so general camped. And I said, isn't this protected ground? Well, you see, it is up to where your fence line is, but from that fence way back there is all federal property as a battlefield, and the tree that you're cutting was in the battlefield, and whatever you find in there is yours. And I was finding all sorts of ball shot, nails, and they were all old and from the Civil War period.
Yeah.
I even found a horseshoe that had been nailed up to the tree, one of them that had grown over. Not something you want to turn, but it was another problem of this was a battlefield during our Civil War. What do you expect to find in the trees?
Yeah, well, we got a load of oak from France, and it had shrapnel buried in it. Jesus, Justin, your cock doesn't know the time.
That's not my cock.
And
Fine, buddy.
I had plenty of red gum with lead shot in it because we got that from a place called Beechworth where Ned Kelly used to roam around. Reckon we must have used some of the trees for. Whose rooster is it?
Not mine.
That'll be mine.
Ah, bloody loud little bugger. Christmas dinner this year.
They're a bit skinny for Christmas dinner. They're all right for stock. They're
fatten them up.
They're a Hamburg, so they don't grow very big. They're almost a heritage small frame breed.
Yeah.
I've probably got a couple too many, according to the wife.
Oh, right.
Most I ever had was 6, and that was way more than enough.
Yeah, I reckon I'm beating you at the moment.
What's that number of chickens?
Right.
But
Yeah.
roosters. I'm talking roosters. I'm just talking about the roosters. I'm not talking about the chickens.
Oh, crikey.
I've got,
I've never had roosters.
Not allowed to have roosters in the suburbs.
no, I'm not in the suburbs. I'm out rural living, 10 k's out of town. I've got somewhere between 40 and 70 chickens at the moment.
Will keep you busy, you know?
They're not too bad. The hardest part is finding where they're laying all the time.
Yeah, that's the worst
'Cause
bit.
I just let them out. Let them out in the mornings, lock them up at night. When I let them out, they get a bit of grain and then they just forage for the day to feed and lock them up at night when they go in. But of course, because they're foraging all day, they don't lay in the chicken houses. They lay everywhere.
Best egg fight we ever had was on my cousin's farm. They used to love laying in the haystacks there, and we'd go through and get the haystacks. Anyway, one accidentally slipped out of somebody's hand one day and hit somebody else on the back of the head, and then it was on. Bloody eggs flying everywhere. And to make
Speaking of chickens,
and
that's a big chicken.
that's a rubber duck.
I like that glove. This is my son, Liam.
Hello to the people who have seen me many times and thought I was a girl.
Hi,
That's
Liam.
it.
Hello.
I see you growing. I see you trying to catch up to us now by growing a mow.
Oh, you mean stuff, whatever? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's still more than
too ugly to be mistaken as a girl.
yeah. It's still better looking than what Jay's is anyway.
You mean Jay has one?
Well, yeah, you can sort of see it. It looks like he's got a little bit of black overspray on his face, you know.
I had a shave this morning.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I got
You got lovely locks there, son.
indeed.
John says just said, Liam, get a haircut.
No, and the worst part was there was a mulberry tree that had just gotten ripe there as well. So between the egg yolks and mulberries, God, we looked a mess.
Oh, mulberry trees look like the bloody zombie apocalypse after you've been picking mulberries if you're doing it right.
I know we threw them at each other.
Yeah, that means you're doing it right.
Yeah. Now, Bailey must think we're all idiots here. If a rooster lays an egg at the peak of the roof, which way does it roll? You got a rare rooster.
Straight to heaven because it's a friggin' miracle.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like the what's the other one along those lines? If electric trains travelling north and the wind's blowing south, which way does the smoke go?
Yeah, you got real troubles if it's got any smoke.
We get cleverer here, Chris. We say peacock. All right, good to catch up with you all. I better go and do a bit more, I suppose.
All right then, Sid.
First day I've been home for about 4 weeks. I've got a bit of catching up to do.
No worries.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
See you, Sid.
Catch you later, Joe. See you guys. Take care.
Take it easy.
See you, Sid.
I don't know who showed me this trick, but that's a bloody good trick.
What's that?
You buy a magnetic strip from Bunnings, you buy a strip of Velcro from Bunnings, and you just whack your sandpaper onto it like that. So
Yeah.
you can just right there, bang, 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 batch it all up.
That's I'd say that's one of Brucey Talbot's tricks.
Yeah. I do it for all the different papers that I've got. All right.
I'm going to have to try that. I've got the magnetic strip. It was given to me for Christmas, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, don't stick your tools to it, that's all.
Yeah, I know that.
You wouldn't think the little amount of stick that they pick up from the magnetic strip would annoy you, but it does.
Just a tiny bit of friction, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a little magnetic tray that sits on top of the headstock on my lathe, and I just put Allen keys and things like that in it, and they all develop magnetism from being in the tray. So yeah, we'll pick it up, won't it?
Yeah, no, that's a reasonably good idea. Actually, having a little tray on it. That's what I say. A lathe's no good if it doesn't have a flat headstock. You got to put your cup of tea somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a one-way which has got a cylindrical headstock. There's no flat on that. I keep thinking,
yeah,
I'll make a flat platform to sit on it and stick some magnets on that to hold it on. But yeah, I've not got into that yet.
Yeah, I've got an RU and an RS Wadkin, and they're all round headstocks, of course. And the RU, of course, got stuff all over the headstock. But the little Wadkin Burrs Green, that's got a nice flat, good sized headstock on it. Most of the others are fairly flat too. Here's Cade. G'day, Cade.
Hey, Cade.
Yeah, jump in, Cade. If you notice, Cade, we've got Paul with us tonight.
You must have had your ears burning, did you? Because we were talking about you before.
Yeah, Cade now is a regular attendee of Paul's program he runs.
All right, John, have a good night. Thanks for coming in.
See you later, John.
Well, I'll tell you, with magnets, I use them for sticking my remote controls onto something so I know where they are. Because if I sit them down somewhere, the remotes, then I can't find them when I want them. So that talking about like for the dust collector and the shop vac, because I don't want to have to walk around over hoses to get to them to turn them on and off. I've got remote controls for them, even the 220 that I need for my dust collector. And my overhead dust collector came with one, so I just stuck it on a magnet too. So
Well, they're generally too high to reach. That's the main reason.
yeah, but I'd lose it if I set it down somewhere. It's liable to end up in shavings or get knocked on the ground and picked up. It was picked up by the big shop vac once on me, and I saved it. Had to take the hose off and fish it out of the vacuum. But it's easier just to grab it and know where it is. I got a magnet that keeps track of my ruler. It's right there. I got a magnetic ashtray, the metal ones on the headstock for the little screws and stuff I don't want to lose because of that's sometimes magnets are really handy to have.
Justin, I was just about to say, hold that and turn the hand wheel.
Yeah.
I don't actually have a hand wheel to turn, mate.
I'd be lost without my hand wheels. In fact, a few years ago, I was doing a demonstration at a club, and I was using their lathe, not my own. And of course, automatically go to stop it with the hand wheel. I ended up with about 6 grooves cut across my hand off the bloody thread on it. The next time I demonstrated there 3 weeks later, they had a hand wheel on it.
I wish there was a way to attach one. I really do. It's just got the through hole for the Morse taper, the push rod.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a spring clamp in there to hold it in place on the bearing.
Yep.
There's nowhere to do anything unless if I got excited, I could possibly tap a thread in the push hole, and then I could put a bolt on it.
And then drill a hole through the bolt.
Yeah. Or just have the bolt go through the wooden hand wheel.
Yeah.
Have the bolt threaded into there, sticking out, and just have it go through the wheel itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, no, that's what I meant. But you'd have to drill a hole down through the middle to knock your drive spurs out.
Oh, yeah. Or unwind the hand wheel.
Yeah, or that.
No, you're right. That's all possible. But there we go.
Brilliant.
Very nice.
Bit of a hump in the middle, but that's just me being picky.
Hey, Jake, can you bring him up?
I don't know if you heard us. It's all right. So there's that, and nice tidy bottom.
Yeah.
Jay, would you like to enlarge Justin's screen, please?
I think he wanted to be interrupted just then.
Yeah. So that's the with the line, and on the back, just a nice finish, pretty profile. Overall, I'm happy with that. Once I get my laser engraver, I'll put my maker's mark in the bottom. It should be good to go.
Very good.
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, really good.
Jay,
All right, Jay, you can put him back down again now. Thank you.
Jay never has any trouble putting me down.
Oh,
Uh, what else
Well,
is
Paul, do you think this is unique?
It's a different format, isn't it? Yeah, it's but yes, why not? It works, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll work anywhere. We
Yeah,
do
but-
it with our club in Detroit. We have a formal one where we do it with Zoom, and we also have people just get together and do it. You know, at random, call. I'm doing this. I'm going to be doing that. Can you wait? And we'll do them together, and then invite a few.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay, do you reckon you could put Blair up on full screen? No, just kidding. It goes back to a conversation that Jay and I had a couple of weeks ago. In case you don't know what that means, Paul, that means reading between the lines.
Yeah.
Is that 'cause your impeccable timing just as it's about to start a cut?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm actually looking up to see about shell wax and how much I can get it for here in the States.
It's relatively expensive in the States.
Yeah, it's about 30 to 40 bucks.
Uh,
Yeah, didn't used to be. I still got maybe a third of a can left, but that's been years when I got it.
Well, it's even worse in Canada because in Canada they had to change all the labels
Oh,
to get it into Canada.
well, they have to write them in English.
Yeah, French and English.
yep, got to be both.
I can get it at Penn State for about 32.
Yeah, well,
That's the lowest.
Penn State are the main distributors in America. That's why.
Look, if I'm going to be honest, OB Shine Juice gives a very similar result.
Yeah, I make my own OB Shine juice,
Yeah.
so it just doesn't have the wax in it.
So I'm just going to grab a coffee. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, don't blame you. Priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Captain Eddie. I've followed him since he first began. We've met, talked many a time on the phone. He's just a gung-ho person, and he really does a lot of stuff, or used to, and his heart wants to still do it, but he can't.
No.
I was going to say, he's got a lot of health problems.
Yes. But the vets have stood behind him because he's one of us. And he's always, made that perfectly clear.
He's one of the pioneers. I think we were talking about it the other day. Wasn't he one of the first ones to do YouTube channels to begin with?
Yes, in wood turning. He's made a lot of tools, and the unique part about him is it's not the money, because if you can't buy the tool, he'll give you the instructions on how to make them, and if there's parts to make them that you can't get because of cost and quantity, you can just buy the parts. Like the friction sander you have, everybody uses, that has a ball bearing in the bottom and a brass tube, in the steel, so it can spin. That's not something you can pick up and buy anywhere, but he'll just sell you that. So you can go ahead and make stuff yourself. He's been really good. I followed him and I've helped what I could of them. Made a lot of pens for vets through him.
John, just to answer your question, you could use OB shine juice, but it has to be buffed off afterwards to get a polish on it anyway.
That's the friction polish. And you got to shake it before you use it. Give it a real good shake to you can't homogenize it. All you can do is shake it up because it'll settle.
Yeah, and the best thing is just make it in small amounts. You can't even, unless you're turning a lot, and because otherwise that alcohol just goes off and you have to keep feeding it, and then it's just never the same. So if you do really small amounts, then it works great.
Yeah, I think personally, John, I'd be looking at NC lacquers or something like that to paint onto scroll work, or to put on scroll work out of a spray gun or a spray can.
John C. just uses bacon grease, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, I saw his comment there about candied bacon.
Candied bacon.
Well, I got just before Christmas, I had I didn't have to, but I helped some people do some wooden bowls, but they wanted to eat out of them. And my sister wanted some that was food safe. So I found a wax that's used for seasoning wood and cutting boards. And if it's safe enough for a cutting board, it's safe enough for anything you can eat on, because in this country it's FDA approved. And it comes in a paste and liquid form. And I love this stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if John's having a go at Chris here about his beaver, about Harry, but he put in beaver fat, and I totally read that as Canadian bacon.
Well,
yeah, that's the way I'd be going too, John. Like, only I'd probably dispense with the tongue oil and just spray straight with lacquer. But I got a saying around here: if it don't come out of a gun, it don't get done.
But Robo, there is something known when you go to the butcher here as Canadian bacon.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, because it's not just bacon from Canada. We have
No.
American suppliers that make it too.
All right, gentlemen. Tammy just got home, so I'm going to go hang with her. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, same to you, Blair.
Yep. Take care.
Oh, see you, Blair. Bye.
He's fast on the button, that boy.
Yeah, Amber's got a palm sander going, so I had to ask her to turn that off so you just could hear me.
Yeah. And I think I might have found the problem with my things. It's actually the computer that I'm using.
Say that again.
I think I might have found the problem because I bought the computer that I use out in the workshop into here and connected it up the same as what the big one is, and I was getting the same results. So it's in the computer somewhere. I don't know about Blair's fetishes, actually, John. Oh, he's still listening.
Ooh.
Looks like a bit of red gum, is it, Justin?
Yeah, it's just another off-cut of fence post.
Yeah.
I just realised I was going into side grain with a parting tool, which I probably really should not have been doing.
No, it's not a cool idea.
Sorry, I forgot to mute the mic. Every time I work with red gum, I'm reminded about how much I don't like it.
Yeah. Particularly in short sleeves, because you end up black.
Has it got a lot of tannin in it?
Yes, it has. And it kills the lights in the workshop too, because it matches the UV output of the fluoro lights and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks it up.
This is going to be an official, I have no idea what it's going to be thing.
Oh, well.
Thinking about making something hourglass shaped so I can get rid of that big crack there.
I doubt that you will.
You reckon that goes right through, eh? Looking at that.
I reckon it'll go through to the middle, yeah. Probably. Yeah, there she is.
Yeah. You know what? It's probably not worth wasting my time on it then.
Oh, well, not unless you got shares in Starbond or something.
Wouldn't be the first crack I've filled.
No.
I'd get it closer to finished before I started bothering with it. You know what? I've put a tenon on it. I'll set it aside and just let it go.
Well, you could make a little pot puree bowl out of it.
You could also put white shavings down inside it with some glue so it stands out.
It sounds like you got a swarm of bees over there, Jay.
A swarm of bees named Amber.
Well, yeah. You said that, not me.
She's got the noise on. She didn't hear me. No, she'd mostly agree anyway, to be honest.
All right.
Here come the train.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've got a freight train for you now. Lucky there's been no choppers today.
Oh, it's Saturday. Maybe they're having a day off.
Wishful thinking, I suppose. He'll honk for us.
Well, how's your bowl coming, Jay?
It's not a freight train. It's the GAN. It's a passenger train, but it's an interstate one.
Is that the one that runs north-south, or the one that
Yep.
does it go west? North-south, yeah?
Yep. Runs to Darwin. I went on the original GAN, not this new modern fandangled thing. The original GAN was a beauty. Like, you look down the railway tracks and they deviated every 10 feet by 3 feet sideways. How the hell it stayed on the rails, I'll never know.
Gee, back in those days, they'd have had you shoveling coal, wouldn't they?
No, it wasn't. It was a diesel one, but no, it was interesting train. Spent 12 days in William Creek, flooded in, with 25 other people. Had to fly in food and everything for us.
Yeah, trains for me have been a hidden love because my family on my dad's side all work for Canadian. Anytime I went to visit them in Canada, they all were on the railroad. So I was in the freight shed with them, and all I know is that my mother never let my dad's brother, uncle, down and held a funny grudge. Is because he was an engineer and I was like 6 years old and wanted to ride with him in the cab of the engine. So as we went by his house, he used to blow a whistle telling, when he was going to be home because every engineer had their own whistle pattern. And at the time, he had me strapped in the steam engine in a seat by the window, and I couldn't fall out. But my mother, when she saw it, she just felt I was balanced, and she just went, boy, did she go off. And the whole family, oh, no, he's safe. But that was something that always was held with her as a big joke. But I remember sitting in the window of the steam engine waving at her at the house about 2 yards away, 3 yards away from the track. So I like trains, steam trains.
So do I. Nothing sounds as good as a steam train.
Well, for private excursions and that, they're coming back.
Yeah. Oh, we've got quite a few. We got quite a few in Australia that have been refurbished and that on tourist lines. Gee, that's a good tool. That's a good tool rest you got there, Justin.
Oh, it's friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good manufacturer. That's what it is.
Must be.
Must be. Hey, they're going to get that line running through Jordan out to Leongatha and whatnot again, you reckon?
No, they'll never reopen that.
Because I know they put the road over the tracks now. It's gone completely.
Yeah. Well, that's happened just about at all the major intersections right along it. And there's too much overgrowth over it as well. And a lot of the trestle bridges have all rotted or disappeared over the years. There's quite a few trestle bridges further down towards Kui Rup and past Kui Rup. Because it used to be all swamp through there.
Has Paul come back to join us yet?
Yeah, I'm here.
With his coffee?
Yeah, I'm back.
Now, it's actually rather interesting, Justin, to have a look at where all the old railways used to run.
Yeah.
A lot of the state used to be covered in them, actually. You just about get anywhere in the state on a train.
You head from Currumborough down towards Wonthaggi and Inverloch, and you've got the coal mine train that used to run through there. You can actually still see where the land undulates.
Yep.
And the old the line still cuts through, even though the iron's gone.
Yep.
What I find interesting in railwood, because I follow the YouTube channels out of Great Britain all the time for their trains, and because they restore the old steam trains, and it's something that's done often. And a lot of YouTube people have done train excursions in different parts of the world. I really like that because you can see more from a train than you can a highway. Couple of years ago, I had as a gift a dinner on a dinner train ride, and it was a Saturday. Friday night, we went about 2.5 hour train ride to a little town where there was an old hotel that had been restored, and we just spend the night in the old hotel, and it was a murder mystery outing. And you got to know the people. There was about 35 of us, 40 in the train that were involved in. And you didn't know who were actors and who were regular guests that had paid to be there, because that just was part of the mystery. And we got to know each other and different hobbies and what people did, and had a nice dinner and all. And we got into the hotel and we had cocktails that night. And what the argument came up as to when's this going to start? We're paying for a murder mystery. Well, we're just relaxing. It's not going to start until the strike of midnight. Okay, we just went on and got to know more about the history of the hotel, and just sitting around in a big 1920s type living room, that it was bigger. They had made it, it was the lounge for the hotel originally. And as we go to say, well, we ought to start getting to our rooms in the elevator shaft. The mystery had begun, and it was a ball. It was the next day after dinner before we found out, who did it, because we had to figure out which one of us did it that was on the train. And that's all we were told. You had to figure it out by asking questions, and they had the stories down fine for the hotel and staff. But that's that mystery train here, it's booked almost 2 years ahead of time, and it's done on a every weekend basis, if not since COVID. But and I understand there's quite a few of them like that going across the country, and in there's one in Quebec, and BC, British Columbia or BC has them too.
Yeah, we had quite a few of them out here too, but one of my favourite YouTube videos is the Flying Scotsman under full steam.
Yeah.
Always wanted to go on the Flying Scotsman.
Well, by far, Britain has the best reputation worldwide for restoration of rail. I think it's great, the different stuff that they've done there. My dream, it'll never come true, but has always been to take the Orient Express.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's quite a few little sort of steam railways that operate in various parts of the country.
Yeah, we got the same thing out here too, Paul. The restoration, like the most famous one in Australia, of course, is probably what they call the Puffing Billy,
Right.
which is only about 40 kilometres from our place. Unfortunately, it costs a fortune to go on it now if you're a family, that's for sure.
It used to be a family fun, friendly day out, but
Yeah.
trying to make money on it now.
Well, the problem is that the cost of all the maintenance and everything has gone up, even though they're all volunteers. Like they're extending the track slowly and this sort of thing, so...
Yeah, when it comes to the engine, though, that's the expensive part, getting people who can still make the parts that are needed. I know we've got the Henry Ford Museum, which is a fantastic museum, and the Greenfield Village, which is all the old buildings that Henry Ford brought back and put it in and made a city, a community you can walk around. It's a living museum type thing. They even got a full stern wheeler in a pond or a small lake. But years ago, probably about 8-9 years ago, before I got my Powermatic, I was asked to turn some stuff for a couple rail cars that a group had got together that were restoring. And they just gave me a spindle, and they told me they needed 8 of them. And it was fun working with that group. And they just had a group of people just to restore an old rail car at the museum, but they didn't have a wood lathe. And groups like that really need people like us that can take something and make what they want, out of wood. And they find they can find metal machinists that can do it, and now it's all CNC. Scan it in with a 3D scanner, and far more accurate than a micrometer, and then make the parts, and then be able to make them look old after they've made them, age them so they don't stand out like a sore thumb. Paul, do you have a hobby other than wood turning?
Yes, I do a bit of photography.
Still or motion?
Still, mostly. So I've got a digital SLR, and I use that for landscapes and that sort of thing.
You ever work with a bigger format?
Not with a sort of a high-end camera. I've got a very old film camera, which is 120 format, and I used to use that occasionally. It's like a 1960s era camera.
Roll film.
So it's very basic, but I used to like using it because of the format. It's a square format, and a bigger one than the 35mm ones. But I haven't used that for some years actually. But I've still got it in a drawer somewhere.
You do your own processing?
No, I never did. I think when I used to be into photography, I didn't have the room to set up a darkroom or anything like that. But I suppose 20 odd years ago, I got into digital cameras and ended up getting rid of all my old film cameras. And, well, apart from that old one I just mentioned, but I got myself a digital SLR and I've used those for probably 20 years or so. I'm getting on for that.
Yeah, I wish I could afford to do that. I got out of it. I used to have a Hasselblad that, while I happened to be in Vietnam, I went to Hong Kong for R&R, rest and relaxation, and picked up a Hasselblad dirt cheap, and with a couple lenses. But you can't even get a digital back form anymore
Yeah.
of any quality. So, but I just hate to see a $3,000 camera, throw it in the trash. But you can't even get film for it.
Yeah. I mean, I quite like using the digital cameras because you can reel off as many shots as you want, and you're not wasting film. So I was always sort of limited with film as to how many shots of one particular thing I'd take because of the cost of it, really. And but with digital, you take as many as you want and delete the ones you don't like. So it's ideal for that.
Yeah, my sort of photography.
But I also bought a drone a few years ago, so I do a bit of aerial photography with that. So yeah, I use that now and again. I quite like the ability to get just a different angle on things and different views.
What do you have for a camera on your drone?
It's a 4K resolution camera, so that's equivalent to about 12 megapixels, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's okay. I mean, it doesn't have an optical zoom, so you're limited in that respect. But it's not bad on the resolution, and if you set the parameters up on it, you can take a decent photo and post process it, and it will take shots in RAW mode as well. So you can do that and then put it into Photoshop or something like that, and adjust accordingly to get what you want out of it.
You need more definition on those beads in the middle there, Justin. Yeah. If you have a look at the original, see how round they are. That looks a bit better. Just to fill you in, Paul, this is Justin's practice piece.
Right.
That I turned up for him.
I noticed that the angle of the cut or on the tool isn't very, it's very shallow.
Yeah.
What is it for? 20 degrees or less?
What's that on the skew chisel?
On the skew, yeah.
No, it's probably about 25.
Yeah.
I run mine at about 20.
It's
very
pretty
shallow.
Yeah, me too.
Now they're looking better, Justin. The one on the right still needs a bit of work doing on it yet. That one, yeah.
I'm finding that I'm starting to get a bit tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that I can almost feel like I'm riding on the edge of getting a catch there.
Yeah. Oh, that's when catches happen.
Yeah. So, Jay, if you're still listening, you might want to take me off the main screen because I'm going to have a cuppa and have a bit of a break myself now.
G'day, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Mike. I don't know if Jay's still there or not.
I think he is.
There he is. Beautiful. Bowl's starting to take shape, mate. Looking good. All right, I'll be right back.
No worries. Yeah, Mike, that goblet that you've done, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of it. Looks much better with the brass wire than it did with the fishing line, I'm afraid. You've had an easy day today, Jay. I haven't yelled at you once.
Yeah.
What do you think I've been keeping on everyone else? Divert the attention, you know.
I know there's a plan you've got. I know.
Shh, don't tell anyone. I put a couple of links in the chat, Paul, if you're interested. I put in. They may be up a little bit now. You might have to go to YouTube or Facebook. There's a Facebook page called Live AU that it's being streamed to. Okay. You might better get the links from there because the StreamYard link doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if you want to join the group, Jay has a system set up so as he lets people know sometimes an hour before, which is nice. But always before he comes up online with a link you just click on. Like I just forwarded it because it came through Messenger to you because I saw you were awake. And I like the format. It's just a comfortable, relaxing, and they say we don't always talk woodworking. And half the time it's in a foreign language of English. But you get to pick up the slang. But that's like the same slang that we end up, that I get, maybe one way of putting it, same, only different, is to listen to some of the turners from Ireland and Scotland. You just have to get to know the vernacular and the slang. But we're all saying the same thing.
Geez, you don't have to go to Ireland and Scotland. In England, you've only got to go to the next bloody town.
Yeah, true.
I was taught by a Yorkshireman who was a furniture maker who migrated out into Australia in the late 50s. And I'll tell you what, for the first 3 weeks, I reckon I needed an interpreter. Geez, that sounds dry, Jay.
Yeah, it better be.
Well, look at the dust. It's dust instead of shavings.
More glue on me than on the piece, I think.
You're going out for a bank job tonight, are you, Jay? Getting rid of your fingerprints.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone, all right?
Either that or you're going to join the Australian cricket team.
Spring to it. Okay. Might better get the links from there. The StreamYard link doesn't work.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike, Mike. Paul's one of your countrymen too, Mike.
So I'm not going to do any more turning today. I'm just going to clean up some of this crap on here and with the Dremel. Yeah, you can talk amongst yourselves. And
Yeah, acetone is supposed to get it off, but it takes a while sometimes to dissolve it.
going on. Oh, lighter.
I'll be back in a minute.
You see, Paul, you got a question in the chat if you're following the chat.
All right, yeah, got it. Yeah, I'm from Gloucestershire in the UK, which is roughly southwest UK.
Well, what do you think of the format, Paul?
It's interesting, yeah, and I think it's just seems to sort of lend itself to being very flexible, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
People just drop in and drop out. And
yeah.
It's the type of thing you people that don't have the ability to drop in, or it's too late, or like Mark one night laying in bed, he said, I got no clothes on, but so head, shoulders, and he was in bed all right. And he talked for a bit and off he went to sleep.
Yeah. I think that's what I might be doing soon.
Yeah, it's going on midnight here in a few minutes here.
Yeah.
But
so how do you guys know I'm wearing pants?
I gotta follow one of the turners there that comes on for your lunchtime things, which is breakfast time for us.
Yeah.
Had my coffee with that in the morning.
So who's that one?
But they don't do that. You know, this is the only one I know like this where we just get together and talk, and with all different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And different skills. I mean, our person that does the people that do a lot of the scroll sawing was one of them is because of the bad storms, and he's high tension lineman. Their company got called out to work, down the Gulf Coast. All the utilities here in the States they back up each other and have their emergency teams and stuff like that. You can get called out and go.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor that way that got called to the Gulf, him and his son. And they have a truck that they take off and they head down. They just throw all their clothes that are in a ready bag and go.
Yeah.
And before the rough times 4 years ago, they would actually, if they had a problem, it didn't matter. They were off to Canada too. Just because it covered the Great Lakes and any of the states around the Great Lakes, because you don't have a lot of the really high end, high tension people.
All right, I'm going to have to go, folks. I'll catch you all later. See you later, Jay. See you, Justin. See you, Bob. Paul.
See you later.
Good to see you in there. If you change the times of your meetings, it might not be 2 o'clock in the morning for me. So, Although sometimes I get up at that time.
Yeah.
And I'll see you later, John, if you're still in there, and Mike as well. All right. Good night.
Thanks for coming in. Bye-bye.
See ya.
The problem is with Jay's show, like he has here, time flies, and the only time you know it is if it wasn't for the live clock in the corner. Because time seems to fly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's up and on here. He's up to 3 hours now, getting close to, and that's pretty normal. And it's just easy, just to while away the afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, I forget the woman's name in Sweden that's part of that usually is in with her cat.
Yeah. Cat and a fish.
She does.
What's her name? Eva?
Ava, yes.
All right, so Midnight Joker wants to know where Paul's from.
Yeah, I answered that one. I'm in the UK, Gloucestershire.
We forgive him for that because he's almost a Welshman.
Not far off it, actually. I do have Welsh descendants as well, going back a few generations. Well, Welsh ancestors, I should say, not descendants. Get it right.
You got any siblings that have followed you in your skills?
No, they both sort of do their own different things, and yeah, I'm the only one that does the woodworking and wood turning, I would say.
Yeah, I've got this same thing. Well, they've all now down to grandkids. And with them, it's computer games. They want to be programmer or write games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems to be the thing. This woodworking seems to be an old man's hobby.
Largely, yes, we see the same here, and the clubs that we have connected with the association, we hear the same from them, that sort of the high percentage of the club, sort of 80% plus, are retired or sort of older. Yeah, I think I see them across the board, and but yeah, one or two clubs are saying that they are dwindling in numbers because obviously that with such a large proportion of their members in that age category, they either get to the stage where they can't do the turning anymore, or they sort of drop off the perch, so to speak. So it's I mean, really, I think they've got to sort of take the bull by the horns there and recruit new people in at the bottom, haven't they? Really, to sustain the club. Otherwise, it'll just fizzle out.
Well, yeah. Now, hopefully, the things like what Jay's doing now, bringing the arts to YouTube, will actually have some sort of an impact in getting it out there.
Yeah.
For the younger people.
I think for us, that's one area we haven't really had the resources to actually tap into up until now, and it's something we are sort of trying to address. And there's a thriving sort of social media wood turning community out there, and in a way, it's seen as a totally separate world to the one that we operate in, and I think we need to make sort of moves to try and bridge that divide and see where that takes us.
Well, as Dr. Bob's mentioned in the past, that COVID's kind of forced our hand in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, things like this and the the sessions that we do and the online demos and all that sort of thing, I think that those are obviously the positives that have come out of COVID, and I think a lot of that will stay once we are back to whatever normal becomes.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, when we have our club meetings, send you the invitation and the links for those, because we, as a club, we have a formal club meeting for members, of which now the policy, since I've got so many people that are like this group around the country as distance people, they just don't attend our meetings. We've come up with a membership for them, like Robo joined, and it's a lot cheaper. You know, it's just enough to handle the help pay the way for the demonstrators that we bring in. We bring quite a few in.
Yep.
And we have 2 meetings a month. One is a formal meeting where we have a demonstrator in the club, or paid, like the one coming up. We have a paid demonstrator, but that helps cover the costs, the memberships. And then we have workshops, of which everybody is in their shop. That's what we try to do, and we're getting more and more that want to do it because they say, I don't have a computer, I don't have this, I don't have that. Have you got a phone? Has it got a camera?
Yeah.
You can be online and run, and the object is that, say you were doing a demo in your shop, Paul, talking about something, but everybody would have, they'd be doing the same thing, because beforehand you'd say, this is what you're going to do, or maybe a little one pager, what you need to do this, you know, a piece of wood this size, that what are you going to do? And usually what you're making is teaching a technique, but there's a project that comes out of it, so you're learning something different.
Yeah. I always feel like it's a better class when you walk away with something that you've made.
Yes. And then we have a competition with those, because you can either make it then and have someone hold it, or get a little $30 at the most clamp. You can clamp to your bed lays, to the roof of your, or the ceiling of your shop, because they've got all the flex on them. And you can put your camera up, because that's all you need. And the thing is you're following someone, and usually there's one-to-one. For instance, I might be mentoring one person and talking to them back and forth on a private window, or a private chat back and forth. But then whoever's doing the demonstration, we also supply a director, which is someone who's sitting there following what people are doing and doing the switching back and forth, like Jay's been doing tonight. So you can actually see someone will say, hey, I'm having trouble, Paul, with this. Then they automatically bring them up so you two can talk. But everybody's watching and listening, because they're learning from that. And when that's done, we go back to a group like this, and you can see the different people doing it. And we have a few people who are watching, who can, in essence, butt in and to help somebody. But it's a class.
Yeah.
But all those that have a phone and a lathe want to be in their shop to do it, and we're getting more and more people set up and are willing to do it, which is great. And that's our interactive class, and it's all online.
What time do you normally run them, Doc?
Once a month.
I mean, time of day, sorry.
For us, the classes are around 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, but they've been talking about bumping them back to noon because of people who want to attend different parts of the world. Somehow I've pulled our club into not just being a club that our world is part of Canada and mid-Michigan. That's where we have a lot of members involved in our club. And of course, when the borders open, they drive back and forth. For us going to Canada, you go over to see a movie or to have, a beer, and the younger kids, because drinking is at a younger age, they can go over and they can drink. They also have adult entertainment where we don't. Like, so, Canada, Windsor gets a lot of business that way with the college kids. But it's like one big city, Detroit and Windsor, back and forth. When I go to the Veterans Administration downtown, their hospital, we've got a lot of Canadian students who are going to Wayne State Medical School, which is just across the border, and then they drive back and forth and commute to go to school or go to work at the hospital for interns, because it's a big hospital. And it's tied to a university that they're going to. So as I say, it's nothing to us to just drive across.
Yeah.
So we have a unique community to do that, across border. We're not the only ones in British Columbia, in Washington State. They have similar programs, so it's back and forth, but because the border has only been a line,
Yeah,
so,
just a line map.
Yeah, and being on it, it's very unique, brought up that way. So our meetings go back cross borders. That's like Cade. Didn't know anything about him until I saw him in one of the meetings that was a bit, not our meetings, but somewhere else. He come up, found him on Facebook, chatted with him in video, and he got talking about what he did, and we got talking. So I invited him to join one day to see what Paul and his group's doing. And now he wouldn't miss it. That's programmed into his phone because to him it's important.
Yeah.
Because no insult meant, because I'm probably the oldest fart here, but people end up looking at older people to learn to turn and turn right. And they want to mimic them and try to find out how it's done. And that, to us, that group's out of Europe. And that's Paul's groups. They're I won't say the global experts, but they're about us in the States and Canada. That's where people look to it. And then I found, here with Robo and what he's doing through Jay and, and you, and there's a group of turners in Australia. Here again, they got the problem. You got hours to go to visit someone.
Yeah.
And with this new type of software, you're not paying by the hour to be able to be there and talk and share. And, it's just like me visiting your shop.
Accommodation concerns and all that sort of jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just deals with all sorts of problems.
So
the only thing lacking is that you can't physically put your hands on the tool while I'm working it and say just, and give it just that little bit of a nudge. You have to try and explain it somehow rather than getting hands-on. It's the only thing that we miss.
Yes. I think the positive is the fact that people are sharing the skills and the fun, and they find that, you have these turners, like I have a couple in my club that instantly when I explained who Paul was, it was like, I don't know, he'd be so perfect over anything that we do. Do we want to show that we don't know what we're doing? Because by Paul's title, he is on a pedestal in the world. If you know what I mean, Paul.
I always tell everyone my official title is General Dog's Body, so don't be swayed by the official title.
But that's just the way it looks to a lot of people. Yeah. And I keep saying, no, don't. He's as human as anybody. Yeah. Because the pomp and circumstance comes from Europe. And the Americans ran away from that. And then the Canadians didn't like how we did it. And then the French got involved. And of course, they were forced to live in Quebec, or that's where they want to live. I mean, you got a whole province where the official language is not English, it's French Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pain.
Yeah.
I got relatives there, and you go into a McDonald's and you want to order something, and if you don't order it in French, they bring out this big piece of paper that has pictures and ask you to point to what you want. And pictures like a person who couldn't read. And then they get your order, and as you go to walk away in perfect English, thank you, come back sometime. Just oh, it's kind of like being a snob. But I got cousins that live there, and they love doing it to us Yanks.
Don't speak in English.
And then you got Newfoundland, and the Newfies, that I can call them that because I've got Canadian joint citizenship. They get a kick out of it, you know, but it's the different cultures across Canada. But there's only a couple of Turners that I've been able to run down in Newfoundland to get them to come join us, because they're always thinking that they get picked on by other Canadians, because that's the running joke in Canada. People from Newfoundland, they even have a half-hour time zone. There's only 2 places in the world that have a half-hour time zone.
I was about to say, what's the matter with a half-hour time zone?
See what I mean? But Newfoundland did it to kind of put it in the nose of the French at the time. You cross a little bridge to to Newfoundland. But being partially Canadian, I can poke fun at it. But we need to get the people together, because the world is getting smaller, and our kids and grandkids, they don't see any barriers. And the big hope I see is that maybe they are going to grow up without having the barriers that we seem to put up at our age and one generation below us.
I think.
One.
Sorry, Jay.
I was going to say only one generation. There's a lot of snowflake generations.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it's that kind of. Yeah, there is a disconnect, and I think the gender gap has always existed throughout time. But things like this, if we're showing that we're down with this newfangled technology stuff, that actually gives us a little bit more credibility in the eyes of the younger generation too.
Yes, but I'll tell you what really seems to help.
Yep.
Is when you can get a 10, 12, 13-year-old to, kind of play dumb, and I can't get this to work, and they come in and, well, great grandpa, I hate that term. This is how you do it. Even though I figured it out, but now they feel important because they're in the realm of teaching and helping.
Yeah.
Because somehow us old farts want to think we know everything, because that makes us intelligent, all these years of knowledge and that we have gained, but so much of it's obsolete.
Yeah. Or some of it's been demonstrated wrong because of new techniques that have been learned and things that we just used to do that are now considered dangerous. And there are better and safer ways to go about it.
Yep. When I was 10, I started working in my great-grandfather's shop, and it was belt-driven at the time. It had its own system. Because he had brought everything with him when he migrated with his father and set up a big wood shop. And he used to turn stuff for Masonic temples because he was a Mason, and he went. This is before you in England had public schools, and the only school he had, and this is 4 to 5 generations ago, before the big potato famine, because that's when a lot of them left, is the fact that a public school didn't exist in the format that we have now, where the kids have to go and get an education. But they couldn't afford to pay to go to a private school, so he went with his father and grandfather and went to a trade school offered by the Masonic order. And he learned everything. He learned to read, write, blueprints. He learned tool making. It was all part of what was required to be a wood turner at the time. And he worked on and was flat work too, carving. And it was a 8-year apprenticeship. And that's when he, with his father at that time, took off and left to come to the United States. They migrated here because there was serious problems. They didn't like being bombed. And I can understand that, World War I.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, they moved and they set up shop and they helped build the Masonic Temple here in Detroit. And all the tools they had at that time were trade secrets. And you didn't tell anybody about something that we call a gouge, because that was a trade secret. It wasn't even a trade, it was within the Masonic order. That was a secret thing. Every time I walked into his shop at 12 years old, I had to swear on his Masonic Bible, this little oath that I would never tell anybody. But I break it now because we have gouges. But that was a secret tool. And I remember the first spear maker. Oh, and sharpening it and how to use it, make balls, because all the chairs that he did, the spindles for the lodge, had to have balls on the feet to lift whoever was sitting in it above the mortal problems of whatever, and I don't understand all of it, but they had to have these balls instead of sitting just on a flat spindle. And the tool to make it was a piece of plumbing black pipe that was sharpened all the way around, and it had welded to it a metal handle, that shaft that they put a wooden handle over. And you sat on the lathe and you would get it shaped the way you wanted it with a skew, because gouges hadn't been legally invented yet. That was one of their secret tools. And I saw them, but I was told I didn't see them. And he used them and taught me to use them. But that, I'll tell you, a catch with that's a catch. But you had to sharpen it all the way around, but you made the ball that went on the bottom of all the chairs out of it.
Yep.
But I was fascinated with wood turning. That got me into it at 12 years old, and I did it up until I went in the military. And then I discovered girls. And that usually stops a hobby like wood turning.
Yeah, there with the money. Yep.
Yep. But I got back into it after Vietnam. I found that it was stop the post-traumatic stress. I didn't like the drugs they gave me, and I found I could take my anger out on the lathe.
Yeah.
Not physically on the lathe, but I could put a hunk of wood on it and make a toothpick. And the anger, the thinking was, according to the shrink that I worked with, the anger was in the floor and I was walking on it. And I could release it that easy.
Yep.
And because that was a hobby I wanted to get back into, and he found that he kept saying, "Can you teach me?" And I'll show you. And we found a lathe, and I got him addicted to it too. But it was great for post-traumatic stress.
So, is anyone cold today?
Nope.
Is it cold?
No, not too bad here.
No,
Look at
Not
that.
indoors anyway.
not sunny like that.
It's
What
above,
kind of
it's
trees?
above 0 here, so it's practically tropical.
There you go. If a train was going past right now, you'd be able to see it over the fence there. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I was just showing off my nice day. Sorry.
It is nice weather. What's the temperature?
29. 29 for me, and 86 for you, Dr. Bob.
Ah. See, Paul, he's so accommodating for us Yanks.
Just trying to make it easy. Easier.
But if you're done, Jay, they want to keep you
Yeah.
up.
Here,
Let you get back to your lovely wife.
It's 6 degrees at the moment, centigrade.
Oh, yeah, you can keep that.
Yeah, I'll take 6 degrees, 30 degrees any.
Mild for the time of year.
Yeah.
But never gets that
Not
cold,
really.
does it, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
It does in the winter time, yeah, but it doesn't freeze. We never see snow or anything like that. But it does get down to pretty close. Just get down to 2 or 3.
I bet you're in heavy winter coats.
No, we're just inside. No, I'm gonna get a diesel heater for my shed when I get my bigger shed. And Robbo, he's an expert on fitting them because he used to make motorhomes. So he's the man to go see when you need to buy one, and I can fit it. It's pretty easy. It's only a couple of tubes and a couple of wires, but yeah, I won't feel the heat this winter. I mean, I'll feel the heat. Get your words out, boy.
A little insulation might help to keep the heat out in the summer and the
That takes
cool
away
in
from
the winter.
space in my bed. That takes more space away, Dr. Bob.
Well, get the sheet, the foam, the sheet foam, and glue it to the aluminum.
Nah, I'll just get a diesel heater. That'll be all right. SK's got one in his workshop at the moment, and it seems to be doing quite well. And he's leaving his running 24/7, and I don't plan on doing that. So.
Yeah, I saw that video of him putting it in. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It'd be a little problem here, according to codes, but it would be easy to fix.
yeah.
You'd have
it's
to have a
pretty
carbon
straightforward.
monoxide sensor.
Yep.
But
There
they're
might
cheap.
be one built into it. I'm not sure.
No, that's one thing I was looking at, but they're cheap. They're, I don't know, $10. I mean, because they're required in homes now here everywhere.
Yeah. No sense having a canary now, is there?
No. Then you feel bad when he dies, and you say, "Hey, I lost my pet." "Yeah, how about your brother? He's laying in the room dead." Carbon monoxide's not good for you.
No, it's not. So I thought I'd just try a bit of green. This is the green powder mixed with terps.
Nice.
It was only a play around. I'm not really even too sure if I'll leave it on there, to be honest. But All I wanted it to do was to go into the grain and you know.
More like a stain.
Grain. Sorry?
More like a stain than a covering, yeah.
Yeah. And that was I can't even tell you the measurements because I didn't measure it.
Yeah.
I chucked some powder and I chucked some liquid in, and that's what happened.
Well, the stain, you put it on and then you sand it off. If you're doing that type of work on wood.
I'll let it dry a bit, though. It seems to be taking a while to evaporate.
Yeah. Well, 3 hours and 16 minutes. I must say, your internet's holding up a lot better since you got that cable.
Oh yeah, that's made a major difference. That is. I think I've had one dropout, and that was just the internet company anyway.
Yeah.
So this is the other color that I did. There's no finesse to this cup because it's my first one. I just wanted to try the color out on it, and it's had 2 coats of clear gloss on it. Like I said earlier, anyway, I was mainly just trying to get the handle design down a bit better than if anything, and waterproofing it.
Yeah.
But
Paul, that was turned on a lathe. Even Robo couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But Jay knew what he had in his head, and he turned that on the lathe. Hollowed it all on the lathe.
Very good.
And then my rather shit bandsaw work stuffed it up. Did a real bright job of it. So I got bloody cuts in it there.
All right.
I haven't had a bandsaw for very long, so so it's getting a nice. I hope it's a nice split and not one that goes all the way through. Look, you can see it there, and it comes out there. So it's just the color I'm looking for at the moment. Just messing with the colors, and I think this is the Terps mix too. The metho mix was about the same, but it left too many granules when it was dried. So definitely, anyway.
But what I got, Jay, is the fact that it was a serious off-balance turning.
Yeah, it made my little lathe jump around, all right.
Yeah. Makes things exciting, doesn't it?
No.
Midnight joke says it's the Flintstones Cup.
Oh yeah, I was going to call it the Incredible Hulk Cup because it got bashed around a bit, but I like Flintstones Cup. That sounds good. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna knock it on the head. Appreciate everyone for coming in. Thanks for coming in, Paul.
Welcome. Well, I'll probably visit again sometime.
Yeah, you're welcome to come back whenever you like.
Thanks.
Lovely.
All right.
Spread the word, please, of this type of program. Not necessarily joining his, but see if you can't get a few people of your group to put something together and talk.
Yeah.
What you have already on Tuesdays and Fridays is fantastic, but getting others, maybe young people or so, to jump in and join and just watch. I mean, you talk about demonstrating and looking at something and what people have done and talk about it.
Yeah.
Here, we're watching people do it.
Yep.
You might be able to try to mimic it there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, send us a link if you're gonna.
Sure, yeah, no problems,
Yeah,
Please do.
because it's just, as I keep telling people, you're just visiting your neighbor in his shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Can I send you a friend request on Facebook, Paul?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please do.
All right. No worries. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, gang. I'll shit through. Catch you later.
Yeah,
See you later, Justin.
tomorrow.
Thanks for coming in.